Late game collapse by the Indiana Pacers. The Washington Wizards take round one of the Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, Caleb Wilson Bowl, whatever you want to call it. There's levels to this tanking stuff, and tonight proved it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team free and available every single day. We thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the nation. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back, no fork needed. Vanilla-y cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Alongside the DC sports content creating savant, Abdullah Ayyubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. AB, 112 to 105. The Wizards win this one, and not a lot of it made much sense, to be honest.
I just want to say birthday cake is my type of flavor, Ben, so thank you for saying that. But, yeah, it was a well-needed break for a lot of Wizards fans, and coming out of the All-Star break, back-to-back games against Indiana, Washington wins round one, and it just seemed like both teams try to go out there and see who wanted it more, whether it was winning or losing. But, yeah, lots of flashes from some of the young guys. Will Riley did not play a lot. We'll get into it. Lots of news coming out with Adam Silver and the whole anti-tanking rules that are going to be implemented next season, where hopefully the Wizards aren't going to be affected by that because they're going to be contending. A lot of stuff we'll go over today.
So the Pacers had one of the lengthiest injury reports I've ever seen before a game. And, it was indicative of what we've seen from the Pacers throughout the entirety of this season. We saw Jarris Walker go for 19 and 13 for Indiana. Just looking at the number, Andrew Nembhard was -9 tonight with 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting. He is not that bad of a player, but that's just kind of what we see in a year like this. But I want to start with the first thing that says there are truly levels to this tanking stuff, and the Pacers prove the capabilities I guess they have as a team right now to make that happen. And we'll talk more and more about the news that we found out today about the NBA will make some serious changes to the way things work next year to prevent teams from tanking. But the Wizards, after they fell behind with a few minutes left in this game, there was 4.5 minutes to go, Washington goes on a 14-0 run to essentially put this game away. If you would have blinked, you missed everything that happened in here. You have an Anthony Gill dagger 3. The Wizards didn't play their starters in the fourth quarter of this game. Trey Johnson and Keyshawn George both ended up only playing 19 minutes in this game. Yeah, 19 for George, 19 for Trey Johnson as well. And Will Riley tonight, AB, only played 4 minutes in this game. There's a couple of other DNPs I want to get into, but I don't like Riley only playing 4 minutes in a game, and I understand those 4 minutes were impactful. He came in there, went 2 for 2 from the field, and was impactful on both ends of the floor. But for a guy that was taken 21st overall, has gotten fair reps with the Go-Go this year, he's been getting more and more reps this year with the Washington Wizards since the turn of the new year, I meant to say. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to have a guy in Riley not playing. Like, these are opportunities for him to develop and get reps, but are the levels that serious for this that we can't even see Will Riley out there?
Yeah, it's funny because, again, you just thought that with these guys out there for the Wizards and Jay Richmond, Jaden Hardy with 18 minutes, Williams with 28 minutes, Sharif Cooper with 24, you thought this was a possibility where somehow this Pacers team is going to come out on top. But right now with the series being 2-1, tomorrow's game is very crucial. But going back to Will Riley, I want to see him play, Ben. I thought the second half of the season was there's 29 games left, not 28. Will Riley has to go out there and prove himself why he's going to be a key piece for this team next season, because as a prospect offensively, he's a lot more polished than some of the other young guys on this roster. And you can let me know in the comment section if you think that he's better offensively right now than some of the young guys that we have. Like I said, I don't know where we go from here when it comes to benching guys, because today, I mean, you only played Will Riley 4 minutes, and you still came out on top. And obviously, if Will played 20-plus minutes, he was going to help you probably win this game by a significant margin compared to today when you only won by 7 points. But again, these games are just so crucial because these teams are with you in the bottom of the barrel. I already said by now that Sacramento, they're on their own island. Right now, you're competing against Indiana. You're competing against Brooklyn, who just, again, lost today to Cleveland. And you just got to find a way, Ben, to dig deep. Tomorrow's game, very crucial. Sold out crowd today in Capital One Arena. I'm expecting to be the same amount of attendance tomorrow. But just an overall, I guess, decent game from some of the young guys that we saw. Jaden Hardy. AD was in the house, Ben. I guess that's a sign. I think he left at halftime, but I think he came back. But just a game where you win, but you won at what cost?
Man, it's just really interesting to see. And you have to make the point every single time. Players do not tank, organizations tank. The Wizards are clearly an organization that is tanking right now. We understand that. And the minutes played by everybody are reflective of what the mission was in this game. You have Kadari Richmond, who's playing on a 10-day right now, get 29 minutes for this team. You also have Alondas Williams, who was just called up from the Go-Go on a 10-day contract. He had 40 points in a Go-Go game, so no disrespect to him. Like, the dude can hoop. He played 28 minutes in this game. It was a plus 12. Let's see, Richmond finished a plus 8. Those guys had their moments, and you got to give credit to Richmond as well. He had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists on 5 of 7 from the field. So, like, those guys and the opportunities where they played, they answered the call. When you have players that are out there that are fighting for every single opportunity in this league, you're never going to go out there and expect them to lose you a game or play bad. Like, these guys are out there playing with everything on the line. So it's not surprising to see maybe those guys are even a little bit more motivated. We're on the floor, and they actually give you a little bit better production than some of the other guys. Obviously, you always see George play 19 minutes. You see Trey Johnson only play 19. Tristan Vukcevic had 17 minutes tonight. He was 4 of 7 from the field, 12 points. Like, he's a guy that offensively is one of the more talented players on the floor at all times, offensively speaking, that, like, you can't play him that much. And these are this is a big stretch for Vukcevic, I think, to, like, show what his future looks like with this organization, because, like, they know what he is as an offensive player. They want to see what he can do defensively. And tonight he had 6 stocks. He had 5 steals in 17 minutes in this game, and yet you don't get to see more of him because, like, of the situation that the Wizards are in right now.
Yeah, Tristan with 5 steals. They call him tricky for a reason, Ben. I think he has to go out there post All-Star break to prove why he is the backup center for this team next season, and who knows what they do when it comes to adding another big. But if Tristan wants to go out there and prove why he is worthy of being part of this rotation, nights like this, 17 minutes, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 steals, 1 block, it definitely helps your case. I don't know, Ben, what can you do more to try to make sure you don't win too many games? Because, like we mentioned, Tristan only played 17. Anthony Gill had 31 minutes. He led the team in minutes per game. Gary Richmond after him with 29. Sharif with 24. Keyshawn with only 19. And like you mentioned, you brought up the fact that organizations tank, players don't. So I get where you're coming from, but there's just levels to this tanking stuff. And Indiana today, no Pascal Siakam, no Tyrese Halliburton, no Zubac, no, everyone's basically hurt. And they had 22 turnovers tonight, Ben. It was sloppy basketball. We were just looking at each other, you, me, and Henry Brown, saying, like, what is this? We're going to see part 2 of this tomorrow. So,
and dude, that 14-0 run the Wizards went on, it happened in what felt like 10 seconds. It was more like 2 minutes of real time, but it felt like 10 seconds because it was just the Wizards knocked down a shot, turnover, knocked down another shot, transition layup, a dunk. And we saw a couple different spurts like that where the Wizards went on runs just because Indiana would just play so carelessly. And in the first half, it seemed like the whole Indiana offense was just drive and kick until somebody jacks up a 3 and ultimately misses it. And Indiana went on a pretty big run at this game to take the lead eventually with 5 minutes left to go. The Wizards were up by 17 at one point, and that lead evaporated, and Indiana took the tanking lead right back, if you will. That's probably the best way to put it at this point, AB. But there is just truly levels to this stuff. So the fact that you sat Will Riley for an entire game practically tonight, well, he was actually mic'd up for Monumental as well, which I think is hilarious. He was
a lot of footage there, huh, man?
Mic'd up for this game, and one of my buddies was texting me, telling me that they had clips of him cheering from the bench. The fact that you have a guy in Riley that you want to see get those developmental minutes because you feel like he can actually be a piece in the rotation next year, you can't even play him, and you still ended up winning the game when you weren't really trying to. It's just a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, and where do you go from here as a Wizards fan? You're probably telling yourself, what the heck, we won, but Will Riley didn't play at all. That's the guy that we want to see develop. What are we doing here? But the plan is to make sure you bottom out, bottom 4, and this is the last year where you're going to be able to do this tanking activity. Next season, we'll get into it. There's going to be some changes. I get it if you're frustrated as a Wizards fan, but I think the team tried their best, Ben. They really did. And obviously, if Will Riley was out there, he's gonna help this team win. He can go out there and hoop. But I'm hoping that this isn't going to be a common theme. Maybe this is a theme where they play against the bottom feeder teams. But when that tough stretch coming up, 6 to 8 games, I better see Will Riley get a good amount of minutes, Ben.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be interesting because if you end up splitting with Indiana here, then nothing really ended up happening at the end of the day. You would have liked to lose both of them technically, I guess, if you're the Wizards front office, but you don't really do any damage if you end up splitting. So tomorrow's a new day. Well, we'll see. And we gotta we went 10 minutes without mentioning this, AB. Champagnie and Watkins didn't even play in this game. They were healthy scratches from the game. That's how active the Wizards were in not trying to win this game. Basically, like, 2 of your guys that are really solid defenders for you, Watkins being one of your better on-ball defenders that you can put out there right now outside of Bilal, and then Champagnie, who just is like a winning basketball player. That's the reason I guess he didn't play in this game, but man, it's ridiculous, like this type of basketball that we're seeing. It's very hard to cover. It's very hard to watch, and honestly, if you're a Wizards fan that's sitting at home hoping that they lose the game and seeing none of your young guys even out there really developing and then you end up winning, that's going to make you frustrated. I definitely am feeling for those fans right now that feel that way.
Yeah, and trust me, we feel like that because we want to make sure that we're in position to draft a blue-chip player. But also on top of that, you want to balance it out by allowing your young guys to develop. And I understand JC not playing. He's going to impact the game on both ends of the floor. Jameer Watkins defensively as well. But Will Riley, this is a kid that I want to see go out there and flourish. You see the offensive upside. We saw against the Brooklyn Nets not too long ago where he had 27 points in 45 minutes. This kid can hoop, Ben. And next season, with this crowded wing room that we're always raving about, I want to see him stand out.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to see that tomorrow, but remains to be seen. All right, LeBron James had some words about the Washington Wizards. He actually gave them some praise. We'll tell you about it when we come back here on Locked On Wizards. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which just might be the sleepers. The board is set and the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take the top spot. 5-Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, something for everyone. Birthday cake is so good, guys. I know AB loves that one. It gives you a boost of energy with 0 sugar. All right, first off, cotton candy 5-Hour Energy. That one is elite. If I'm drafting flavors, my top pick would have to be, though, Fruity Rainbow. It's bright, sweet, and it doesn't have that heavy aftertaste. Confetti Craze is fun, too, but Fruity Rainbow is my number 1 overall. And honestly, my sleeper pick, it's got to be cotton candy. If that is ever out there for me again, I'm stocking up on that quick. That's still the top contender for me. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today, and thank you for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the number one in the nation. If you haven't already, go check out the new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Wizards, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. Invite to the members-only Locked On Everyday Club Discord, which includes a group chat just for listeners of the show. AB and I will hang out in there. Go to LockedOnWizards.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more about it. AB, I know this news got you hype. LeBron James had some words of praise for the Washington Wizards' young foundation of players, which we barely got to see tonight, by the way. But I just wanted to get your initial reaction to LeBron saying this is the first time we've seen some real pieces, some young guys in D.C.
Yeah, so just for reference, on his podcast, Mind the Game, he said that, in quotation, "I love the young kid from France," talking about Alex Sarr. Love the kid, Keyshawn George, as well. And the rookie from Texas, Trey Johnson. I think for the first time in a few years, we can say that Washington has some pieces. And then I said, on a quote repost, LeBron coming to D.C. and winning a chip is something MJ could never do. And it would be the cherry on top of the GOAT's career, and already has 18,000 impressions. I love trolling MJ fans. They can't take enough LeBron love.
You're going to make some people mad with that one.
No, 100%. But, yeah, I'm still in the back of my mind thinking that if LeBron really wants to be the GOAT, he comes here, wins a championship, wins 4 titles with 4 different teams, but that's besides the point. It's good to see the praise, especially from a guy with his caliber, knowing how many years he's played in the NBA, and he's seen so many different type of teams, noticing a team in D.C., what they're trying to build right now. Obviously, tonight was a little frustrating because we didn't see a lot of Will Riley, and we're talking about how, as any Wizards fan out there, you should be frustrated about that. But outside of that, LeBron James, a guy who has seen it all, like I mentioned, and again, this is great because next season things are going to be different because you have expectations of going out there and competing, potentially making the play-in if a lot of things go your way in the offseason via the draft lottery, maybe some moves that Will Dawkins and Michael Winger make. But it's just great to see because in a world full of so much Wizard slander and being the punching bag, one of the greatest players of all time goes out there on his platform and talks about how good the young squad is in the district.
Yeah, it was nice to hear. But let's get into some other news that honestly just even further vindicates what Washington is doing, trying to get out of the bottoming out business after this year. And like for a team like Sacramento, I don't even know where they're going to go from here because Shams tweeted out today that Adam Silver informed the league's 30 general managers on Thursday that the NBA plans to make an anti-tanking rule change for next season and that stakeholders have intensified dialogue about combating tanking. So what does that mean? I have no idea. We have no other information on that right now, but it proves that the league is completely done with nights like tonight. And honestly, like I'm a pro tanking guy. Like I get it. I understand why organizations have to do it. So I'm not really in favor of teams or the league getting in the way of teams that need to take this approach from doing this. The you win now, we win later motto is something I've always liked to look at here for the Wizards and then other organizations that have been in this process. But when you watch a game like tonight, like it does make sense because it is tough to watch sometimes when genuinely you don't see guys out there that you even are hoping to develop at this point because you got guys on 10 days out there at this point that are just playing for their livelihood. So it's a good story for those guys to be out there and play significant NBA minutes in a game. But they go from the fan perspective. If you're a Wizards fan, though, like you signed up for this. You signed up to be part of this process for a couple of seasons because we never had to go through being in this tank thing because it was something that Ted Leonsis never would go for so many years until you realize being in the middle is the worst place you can be as a basketball organization. And the Wizards are going to get out on the other side of this after next season, whether they take a big enough step next year for things to look really positive, trending in an upward direction. It remains to be seen, but I'm glad they're getting out of the business now because it is tiresome to watch it. I am very much over it.
Yeah, we all are. I think the term after this season, tank/tanking, it shouldn't be in any Wizards fans' vocabulary for the next 5 to 6 years. And I generally wonder, Ben, did Will Dawkins or anyone in the Wizards front office knew that this was potentially happening and they jumped the gun and trade for a guy like AD or even before potentially acquiring Trae Young? Maybe I'm speculating, but next season it's going to be different. You have to go out there and try to compete all 82 games, and there isn't any top 8 protection cloud over the whole organization. And I do wonder, Ben, I was kind of thinking about this, and you brought it up I think not too long ago. If you somehow don't have the luck on your side again when it comes to lottery, is there a possibility where you get that draft pick, knowing how loaded this draft class is coming up, and pair that draft pick up with some young guys and go out there and trade for a star? Like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm just saying things, but there's just so many things that could happen this offseason where as a Wizards fan you just have to buckle up, the cap space and all, how will the extensions go with Anthony Davis and Trae Young, with this Adam Silver news. It's crazy because it got to a point where teams like the Spurs, Mavs, all these guys get away with it, but when the Wizards and small market teams like Sacramento Kings do it, it's like, okay, we've had enough, no more. So the word tanking, again, I do wonder how much of these potential new changes would affect it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for us Wizards fans. Right now, we're continuing on towards the 4th year of a rebuild, and by next year, hopefully, this team is competing for a playing spot in an Eastern Conference that just isn't that strong outside of 3 to 4 teams.
Next year is going to be the real progress, the real indicator, and I think this summer is going to tell us a lot about how people really feel about this organization. We've seen a couple of instances like Sarr dodging Atlanta to getting here, Trae Young making this his preferred destination. We're going to find out this summer if dudes really want to play for this organization and how that's really going to affect their long-term outcome. Because we've seen the direction, we've seen the vision that the organization wants to take. Whether they can put that plan into full drive and actually lift off, get the training wheels off, remains to be seen. That's going to be the next step for the organization, because everything can be perfect on paper. The approach they've taken, the ancillary moves they've made, the asset management, all of that is great and wonderful, but you have to start winning eventually. You have to start showing the results for it. So like going back to the conversation yesterday about the Wizards front office being ranked 22nd, I think it's low, but I understand it. The Wizards have done nothing yet. They've done things that are great on paper, but we'll have to see the results for any type of indication to move them way up in the ranking. That's just how I view it. Like, if you're a Wizards fan listening to this right now, you understand that. Like, the whole point of this rebuild is to get your organization to the next level where you can actually be competitive night in, night out for years to come. That's what they're aiming for, and they're going to have to show those results at some point.
I was going to say, Ben, right now the Wizards, you're taking the test, for example. It's a free response, and you're showing all your work. But at the end of the day, you need to show the answer. And the answer for the Wizards is going out there and playing good basketball. So hopefully next season, that's the case.
Alrighty, when we come back, we give you an opportunity for the last few minutes to let it all out. We're definitely going to have some funny comments for this one, AB. Let's do that when we come back. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make, and that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with the customer. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. Works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight the next steps so details never slip through the cracks. No surprise that Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, the inbox overflowing, the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need to make the right hire. And this is where Indeed Sponsored Jobs comes in. Helps you reach out to the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, and location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all for you. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. All right, everybody, Wizards got a win over the Pacers tonight. It's your time for your favorite segment on the Locked On Wizards postgame show. Time to let it all out. AB, how angry are people?
It's so funny, Ben, because I legit forgot that we won this game. It's the 15th win of the season, and the way we were talking, it just felt like another blowout loss. But
it feels like we lost by 30, right? The way we're talking about it.
Genuinely.
It feels bad. I feel bad talking this way.
Yeah, you're not the only one. A lot of Wizards fans are out there disgusted. 99Brando99, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to Locked On Wizards. He says, disgusting game. Yep, if you look at it through the lens of just watching the game and trying to watch good basketball, that wasn't the case. A lot of turnovers. Indiana had 22. And if you're a Wizards fan that wants to see a lot of these young guys go out there and develop, that wasn't the case tonight either. Will Riley only playing 6 minutes was a little unfortunate, but we're hoping that that's not going to be the common theme moving forward. Locked On Law, what's going on, man? He says, ass job of tanking. Yeah, it was tough. It was not something that you want to see, at least if you're a part of the tanking club. You're 2-1 right now, the series. Tomorrow you're hoping that you lose to even out the series 2-2. And in that case, Ben, it'd go down to point differential, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, gotcha. 99Brando also says nothing about tonight made any sense. Tyler says, good to see that ethical tanking by the Pacers has beaten the unethical tanking of the Wizards. 4 minutes for Will Riley. You think you're slick. I'm probably wondering if Coach Brian Keefe is going to be asked about the minutes, like the only 4 minutes given to Will Riley, but we'll see. I mean, he's probably going to downplay it. Igor says, good win. He's very happy. Good cultural win. Yeah, I mean,
he's always happy when we win.
Yeah, I guess because we don't see many of them, so you got to take them how you can get them. Average Skippy says, we're tank failures, but DNP, I'm assuming he's talking about Darren Pearson, wants to be a Wizard according to reports. Let me ask you this right now, Ben.
What reports?
I think it was a fake report.
What reports?
He probably saw something on Twitter, but let me ask you this right now, Ben. Is Darren Pearson still the lock at number 1 upcoming?
I don't know about lock. He's my number 1, though.
And
The stuff is weird. Like, it is getting a bit harder to defend, but I'd still take him 1.
Oh, here we go. This is the comment of the night. Pizza Rolls 9979 says, I swear if we lose DP because of an Anthony Gill dagger.
That's the vote when he hit the 3 in the left wing to make it a 14-0 run. I'm like, yep, this game is really over just like that.
Where's Steve Buckhams when you need him, man?
Dagger.
Live the MCEE says, if we stay healthy, we are deep enough to be an Eastern Conference contender next season. That's a hot take right there, Ben. I'll say one thing. If you get number 1, if everyone's healthy next season and Alex Sarr takes this crazy jump, Keyshawn and Bilal, someone takes an offensive jump, I think it's a possibility, but I think it's going to be too soon to jump the gun next year, Ben.
Too soon for a contender. A contend for the 6th seed, sure.
Yep.
I'll give you that.
That would be nice.
If you say contender as in they're going to win the East, gotta pump the brakes a little bit there.
Because the last time we were the 6th seed, the highest seed to that point was 20, I'm assuming, 16, Ben? 17?
Well, that year that we played Atlanta, we were
the 5th seed, right?
I think we were the 4th seed that year.
Okay. So that was,
we had a home series against Atlanta.
So that was 2017?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Pizza Rolls also says, where was Will Riley? And all exclamation letters. Yeah, that was capitalized. That's the question of the night. 99 says, that was a horrible game, total disaster. Choice to bring 2 stars back in, ridiculous. Yeah, a lot of things that were questionable tonight, but we're hoping to see tomorrow some changes, at least when it comes to seeing some of the guys play. Mr. Bonvitu said, just heard the coach Keyshawn has lower foot problems, and that's the reason why he did not play him too much. Okay, that's something that we definitely have to monitor moving forward. Jay, the CEO of the Bilal fan club, says Bilal is a waste of time and resources. Honestly, Ben, right now, where are you when it comes to evaluating the current state of Bilal Coulibaly? We're almost done with year 3. How would you evaluate him?
I don't think anything has really changed for me for Bilal. I think he is what he is as a player, and maybe people would say I'm giving up on his offensive game too early, but I think he's a very good defender, and I think that's a meaningful role to have on a team that's really good. I don't see a lot from him offensively. That's just kind of how it's been. Tonight was one of his better nights offensively, I think, but a lot of these situations, they're playing a Pacers team that's been bad defensively, and he got a lot of transition opportunities. So this was a night where it made sense for Bilal to score the basketball a little bit, and I'm happy he did so. He had a really ridiculous putback dunk. That was crazy athleticism. He has that ability in him. You just got to see him put it together consistently. I was trying to think back, and we just haven't seen consistent offensive performances from Bilal for a lot of the season.
Yeah. It's gotten to a point where your patience is somewhat running out as a Wizards fan. And we still have a defender right here. Dispo says, I'll defend him all the way. I hope he takes that jump. I want him to, because, again, he was the first draft pick of the Will Dawkins regime. But, man, outside of injuries and when he's back in, there's just no consistency when it comes to being able to attack the hoop, the jump shot. In today's NBA, if you can't shoot it from the outside, teams are going to be able to guard you with ease. So we'll just have to see. Liv, the MC, also says this. The league is going to destroy competitive balance if the tanking reports are true. Again, when it comes to tanking, hopefully the Wizards will be out of the sweepstakes for years to come after this year. Let me see what else. Igor says the statement jerseys are so fire. He also says, I don't see Wiz extending AD. I wouldn't. We'll have to see how extension talks go. If I had to choose one over the other, I'm assuming Trey would get that extension over Anthony Davis. But again, we'll just have to see how everything plays out. I don't know if I'm missing anything else, Ben. It's fun to be back in the building, though, Ben. I'll say one thing. That was cool.
Yeah, it's good to be back out here, and unfortunately, without our good friend Bijan Todd, who was very unfortunately part of the Monumental Sports layoffs today, which was a massive bummer. So, big shout out to him. Go show him some love. He's a stud, and he's going to have a great career wherever he ends up at this point. But just wanted to show him some love. He was a guest on our show, and definitely one of the nicest people that I met on the Wizards beat here. So gotta give a big shout out to Bijan.
Yeah, 100%. Bijan is one of the best in the business, and I've only known him for a short amount of time, but every time I walk in, just being able to talk to him like I've known him for so long. Make sure to check him out on Twitter at Bijan Todd. And honestly, Ben, I'm hoping to have him more on the show because his Wizards knowledge is elite.
And we'll see. Maybe we can make that happen at some point. That'll do it for us tonight here on the Locked On Wizards post-game show. Wizards take round one of the whatever bowl you want to call it at this point, 112-105. Be back in action here from Capital One Arena, Wizards Pacers. Tomorrow we'll have the post-game coverage for you, of course. For my co-host Abdullah Yubi, I'm Ben Strober. Talk to you later, DC family.